Bua Foods has released their 2023 full-year unaudited earnings. Let's take a quick look at those numbers. Revenues coming in 74% higher than 2022, 728 billion. Gross profit coming in 89% higher, 251 billion when you back out cost of goods sold. EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, 223 billion, up 81%. Profit after tax, 74% climb for the company. The stock price of Bua Foods closing at 285 naira a share. So far this year, up 47.3%. The one-year return for the company, 282%. Wow, what a return. The managing director is here with us, Mr. Engineer Ayodele Abioye is here to discuss the results, plus more. Engineer, good morning to you. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be back here. Thanks so much, Otis.
So what can you give us a quick summary of the triggers behind these healthy numbers that you posted?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a clear measure of our business resilience, considering the fact that the economic climate has been very, very uncertain and also very volatile, as you were. Call it tectonic if you want, in terms of the instabilities that we do experience. So it's also for us a very clear manifestations of our strategy, particularly on the expansion platform. Because we have since our debut on the Nigerian exchange, as you know, we've always talked about expanding our expansion. And basically this is three fronts. So one is on the production platform, because we need to produce more. Second one is on the market side, expanding the market. And the third one is on product offering. And we continue to drive that. So basically in 2023, the manifestations of this strategy is what has played out in supporting those numbers as it were. And we can see very impacting growth opportunity delivered by our flour division, about 90%, representing 152% to revenue in terms of growth. It's actually the biggest, followed closely with our pasta as well as the sugar business as it were. We also debuted our rice, by the way. And of course, as you know, we have 5 business divisions, others are coming. The number stands as it were, and as you've actually shared, 22%, 1.5 billion profit, unaudited. I'm sure once the audited is out, it won't be too far from what we are presenting now. As it stands, I think we are motivation to a lot of Nigerian company. We probably stand as probably the most profitable business in our sector as it stands at this point in time.
Well done, well done. Look, you talked about resilience and the economy. We had, of course, an exclusive chat with the central bank governor, Olayemi Cardoso. He talked about a lot of moves being made to try to stabilize the foreign exchange market. How are you being impacted by FX? How do you see the moves made by the CBN? What's your overall macro view of what's going on?
We are not immune. We are exactly feeling the same impact like every other manufacturing business. As you know, since the debut of the government, we've had 2 major headwinds. One is the fuel subsidy stoppage, as well as the FX unification. So we've been impacted. Even in our reporting, you will see that we've got exposures as high as 75 billion. It looks moderate when compared to other businesses in our space. Basically, also a test and a testimony of our ability to manage our supply chain dispositions and also edge that ahead of our time. So we're able to put all bits and bits of all of that together to be able to continue to deliver on this result. However, the impacts are things that we continue to weather. We believe very strongly that our strategies will see us through. Because the situation hasn't abated and is still giving a huge impact. As a matter of fact, from our end, planning has become very difficult. The rate of change has also led to the rate of price increases across the industry. And of course, this is probably also affecting the consumers at the other end. Of course, we can see reactions coming up in terms of all of these happenings. But again, I think we need to look forward, and then we hope that stability will come at some point in time, which of course then will enable us to plan better and also be able to manage cost competitively to the consumers. But one thing I must call very clearly also is that we as a business understand the pain of price increases, particularly to our customers and consumers. And one of the deliberate things we've done over the last 30 years is basically to intentionally price lower and be competitive also in the marketplace, considering the effect on staple foods, particularly on the populace. And we'll continue to do that because it's more like a sacred vow for the business.
So that means your profits would have been higher if you hadn't lowered your prices. Wow, okay.
Absolutely.
So look, and I'm glad you're talking about the sensitivity for customers and price increases. This day news columnist Waziri Adio, who of course is formerly of NATI, runs the Agora Policy Economic Think Tank, wrote an article on the back page on Sunday, I believe, where he looked at or rather talked about the urgent need to halt soaring food prices. And he put out some solutions. I mean, the numbers are there. The number of people that are income poor, over 100 million. Okay, 26.5 million food insecurity, 59% of people spending income on food. So as far as the solutions, I know you as a company, I think you've even talked about it last time you were on the show, but he is saying perhaps halting tariffs on wheat, sugar, rice. Customs should not move the exchange rate for clearing goods. What do you make of some of those solutions? What do you think can be done as far as addressing this food crisis? Okay,
so I think he's absolutely right. This has been done before. In 2008, if I remember clearly, right. I think government did something in terms of wheat or grains generally. They did something to kind of assuage prices and all of that. If the government can do that, I think it goes a very long way. However, what's even more concerning is also like I just said, just last week, you see the duty exchange rates moved up by custom. If we can have some stability in that, would also additionally help in that space. But I think to actually drive that down to the consumer and the populace, it would be nice for government to consider some very intervention incentives. Again, across the value chain. Reality is that if you do for one part of the value chain and you don't consider the total chain, the effect is not going to be felt. So we need to consider it as a total approach, in a holistic approach to say, such that the effect can be felt by the common man on the street. And I think that's the critical point we want to address in those solutions. So what he offers is fine. What I also believe, additional to that, is also to encourage more production. So for us, for instance, as a business, we've seen this upcoming. We've got 200 million people. Sincerely, we need more production. We just need more companies to do the needful and government to provide the right policies that will encourage more output. We need more production. We need to cut down on waste. Again, as you know, food waste, Nigeria has ranked one of the highest in terms of waste. What is driving all of this is also probably our poor infrastructural dispositions and also some of the policies that we have around. So if you, for instance, or maybe let's say additionally, we look at possibilities where we can rebalance the economy with more emphasis on manufacturing and agriculture, very important. And on the manufacturing side, encourage more and more production. The reality today is that what's the price of a bag of flour or probably a bag of rice in our neighboring countries? I think it's important to look at the data. They actually, spend more because of the issue of inflation and also the FX issues and all of that. So, but again, to bring it home is to say that give more incentive, holistic one to the manufacturing dispositions, and then secondly on the agricultural side, it's high time I think we consider community partnership in agriculture. Okay. I call it CPA. Yeah. This CPA basically is let's get our emirs, our OBs, and our royal fathers busy. And the governor, I think the subnational governments, or if not the federal government, can partner with them, such that they can engage in all these food crop agriculture. We're doing something similar to that with the Lafiaji community in Kwara State, for instance, where we are partnering at the Emirates precisely to do some farming for us in paddy, in paddy rice. We've done a pilot case. We're on the second phase of the pilot case, and our intention is to expand that to the entire community. So community is engaging the people who are interested, they're enrolling them, and they're following up with them. Yeah. So because they're closer to the soil, they can manage them. Right. And what the government can do in this case is say, okay, so at the time of your harvest, whether it is whatever you are growing, reality is that, look, we've got the arable lands. 30% of Africa's arable land is in Africa. So why are we not making use of what we have? Yeah. And I think if we do that, we can then, be able to also cut down on costs, because then you manage the value chain, the supply chain of staple foods, as it were, across.
Just less than a minute to go. What's your outlook for 2024? Are you optimistic? I know there's your company side, and then I guess the wider economy and the people. How do you see things this year?
So it's our hope that the situation will stabilize at some point, and then of course we can then plan better. We get out of this turbulence, but notwithstanding in our own book of strategy, Our expansion strategies are still manifesting. We're still going to continue to expand that to primarily just get more production out there, because we need to get more volume of our product out for people to eat. The market is there, and then we need to fill those gaps that exist, such that we can make it more affordable for the consumers. So we are very optimistic that we'll continue to deliver double-digit growth across our financial metrics, leveraging very largely our integrated supply chain system. This is very important because, as you know, the bulk of the inputs are for FX dependent. They are imported, and of course, it's important to have an holistic supply chain management system with executions precisely to put that rightly for you to be able to achieve the numbers. So we're very optimistic. We are very positive that we get to the promised land.
Yeah, well, the numbers show it. Engineer Ayodele Abioye, Managing Director of Bua Foods, thank you so much for joining us to talk about your numbers and how to address the food crisis in Nigeria. Appreciate your time.